Well, guys, we're back. We are back. We're back with another person who is also back. Yay! Welcome, Matthew. Back.
Thanks.
Hey, Matthew.
Hello.
So we're gonna do something different today. Something fun. I think it's fun. Hopefully, it's fun.
Really fun.
If it's not, then we'll trash this and we'll just talk to Matthew.
Okay.
It sounds like fun too.
Right. But I thought since we haven't gotten any emails with questions, which means I guess we're so educating that you guys don't have any questions, which
totally
might be a
exciting.
good thing.
This is fine.
But we thought it'd be fun to take the most frequently asked questions from Google and to answer them, because apparently someone's asking something. Yeah. I guess we're just gonna dive right into that.
Go for it.
I think Google's going to use this for probably a commercial next year during the Super Bowl, if there is one. But that's a side story.
That'd be fun. Google. First question is, why does 911 ask for your address? I think we've explained this in literally every single episode, and this is one of the most popular questions that was asked. So very location based. It's important because, as we've said in various episodes, we don't always know where you are, and our GPS that we get from your phone isn't always accurate. So like getting an address or getting your exact location is the most important.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I just was reading, I think it was yesterday or this morning, that can also become the most frustrating process probably for someone calling 911 because they may not know exactly where they are. For instance, we had something recently where in our center we took a call and all the person said was the mountains.
Oh no.
But she was so stressed, and but we can't send resources if all we know is the mountains. So it's absolutely imperative.
Yes. And I bet it could be then frustrating for us too. Like, give me something. How can we, we can work around it if you really don't know. There are ways, tricks, but that's the most vital piece of what we do.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna awkwardly stand up and reveal the next question.
Or you can edit it out.
I don't know how well I can edit videos, so we'll see how this goes. Just hopefully I didn't sit on anything earlier.
Drum roll.
You should have paid Vanna White to come home.
You could have been as well.
We made mistakes. So the next question is, why does 911 take so long? And I don't know how to answer this because I don't really know what you mean.
Right. Is it like when the phone rings? Is it a response time to you?
Is it me taking so long to ask you questions? Is it
Probably all the above.
all of it, right? I think in an emergency situation, seconds feel so much longer. And we feel that every time we answer the 911 call, like we know that 2 seconds has passed, but it feels like it's been a light year. So I don't really know how to answer this. Why does 911 take so long? We want to get accurate information and we want to get the best information because we want to help you in the best way possible. So if it feels like it's taking so long, that's what I'm trying to do.
And I think a huge significant piece of it too is to understand that just because we're still asking questions doesn't necessarily mean responders aren't already around.
Right.
But again, I mean, it's aside from maybe the ambulances at times in the areas where I work, a lot of our responders are having to go to their vehicle or, and start heading that way. So it's not like they're, a short distance out.
Right.
But I think, probably the biggest thing is just the seconds feel like minutes when it's a high stress situation. And that's the hard part, being on the caller's side of the phone, is really having a good perspective of time.
Yeah.
And thinking about in higher population, busier centers, if you're saying why does 911 take so long to answer my phone call? It depends on how busy they are. We are smaller, we can answer the phone pretty quickly. If you are in Denver, you might have to go into a queue. And while the dispatchers or the call takers are processing the other calls. So you might have to wait, but don't hang up.
Right. Because
you'll just go back to the end of the queue and it still feels, we said, seconds, takes forever. Don't hang up. They're working on it as fast as they can.
Right. I think it's very important to say there's a queue. It's not like you still have your your number in the DMV,
Right.
just because you like walked out the door and came back in, you
Yes.
basically have to get a new number.
Yeah.
Like, it starts all over. And if
No.
you really have an emergency and it's saying, like, you're on hold, you're like, we'll answer your phone call as soon as possible. Please don't hang up. I can only imagine the frustration for both sides.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's how it
Yeah,
goes.
and I think another maybe on this too is if you call a non-emergency line and they haven't gotten there, it doesn't probably speed things up to call 911
Right.
per se. There's still a priority of how calls are being dealt with and handled, and so I think that's another piece is to not misuse 911 to say, well, they didn't get here quick enough when I called the non-emergency number, I'll just call this and they'll get here quicker, which I think that's kind of a false point too.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Ready for the next one?
Ready.
Okay. Hopefully there's not another train that's going by.
It's the soundtrack of the day.
My favorite question right now. Why does 911 ask so many questions?
That's just Sammy.
That's just me. If you get me, sorry, you're gonna be on the phone for 20 minutes apparently.
Is Matthew there?
Sorry, I'm gonna hang up and try again.
No, we said don't hang
Yeah,
up.
don't hang up. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. We ask so many questions. I think it depends on the situation, on the amount of questions that we ask. Obviously, you know the 3 main questions that we ask almost every single time. Should be asking every single time. Address, phone number, what's going on. And if what's going on is like, I heard gunshots, we're probably going to want more information about that. If it's a medical call, we're going to want more information about that for our paramedics, which we'll talk about maybe in an episode that you've seen already where we talk about medical protocols. It's kind of in depth the things that we need to know to best prepare our responders, to best prepare them for the emergency situation. I wouldn't want a paramedic to come in and be like, okay, so he's in cardiac arrest, I need to go back and get the equipment because you didn't stay on the line with 911. So it's to best help everybody in the situation. So don't get annoyed by us. I'm asking these questions for a reason, and it's not just for fun.
And we can't see what you see. So I am going to have to play the 20 question game because you are describing it to me.
Right.
And I might have to clarify something.
Right.
Because you are my eyes right now.
Right.
Yeah, and I think like you're saying, Erica, the better that picture is painted for us on the call taking side of things, the faster it makes for the responders when they get there, like you said too, Sammy, about what they're preparing. I mean, there's significant things. If you're Colorado, we have rattlesnakes. If you're bit by a rattlesnake, not every ambulance, and in most cases, I don't think they usually transport antivenom by ambulance. It has to go by the helicopter. So it's a resource that if it's a life-threatening thing, just bearing with us sometimes and answering the questions fully means the best resources are sent, whether it's the correct apparatus or the correct type of life support for an ambulance or whatever it may be. It gives you the most helpful response. And then on the law enforcement side of things too, I mean, it's a big thing that our officers know what they're getting themselves into, because in the climate we live in, and just for their well-being and safety, we don't want to add undue stress or a really emotionally charged circumstance that could take a turn for the worst, when they could step back and kind of slow time down and take control of the situation safely at a distance instead of just barging in. I think that moving too quickly can lead to other issues at times too. And I mean, I think too, it's just the reality that so many questions. It would be fun to pull 911 tapes and really see how many questions we ask compared to how much stuff we're given. But I mean, the significant piece is there's certain things we're looking for. It's not, especially in an emergency situation, it's not the backstory. It's not what happened 3 days ago per se. What's going on now? Tell me exactly what happened. Is that question and narrow it down?
I read an article the other day about how we have a big responsibility doing what we do already, but how 911 dispatchers can escalate or de-escalate a situation that officers are going into. So us taking the time and making sure that I have it completely clear as I can, is going to be the best for responding units and for the people who are involved. So I don't want to get something wrong. And
right, especially in police situations, because if there's a large fight breaking out and you're like, oh, so-and-so is doing this and so-and-so has this and this person has a weapon, and it's like, well, hold on one second. Who has the weapon? Describe them for me. What else did you say? Now, what is that person doing? What is that person wearing? We really want to get into this so that when officers get on scene, they're like, okay, red jacket has the knife. Let's get to red jacket guy. And then depending on what else is going on. I don't really know police protocols, but I would imagine we ask for weapons because it's important. So like that would be something that they're looking for. And if everybody is in a room, we need to know which one has the weapon. It just helps our officers. So yeah, we will ask those questions for those reasons. I feel like we're just gonna keep going down rabbit holes of like, well, this situation, it's really unending.
And I mean, I think the biggest thing is with the so many questions and like Erica was saying, getting the best or the most clarity to the situation is, especially in a state like Colorado, Northern Colorado specifically, it's such a melting pot.
Yeah.
So I think about 911 calls I've taken where all the caller says simply is they're fighting.
Right.
What does that mean? Is it verbal? Is it physical? Are there weapons involved? Are drugs and alcohol involved? Or, you know, and sometimes, you know, we've heard this story before of my baby's not breathing. Is that like an actual baby? Is that an adult in a term of endearment? And so understanding those nuances to ensure, again, it's the best response and it's for the well-being of the fact you're calling 911 means there's an emergency. We want to give you the best help. And we're not trying to be frustrating. It's just, it's what's necessary.
Yeah.
I definitely like your point about like the general terms. It's like they're fighting. Someone told me he just ditched a car. And I was just like, so he got out of a car and just like left it? And she was like, no, he ditched it. And I was like, well, my idea of ditching a car is just dropping it off on the side of the road and running. And she's like, no, he crashed into the ditch. I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. So yeah, what you might think is simple understanding for you because you saw it and all this stuff isn't as simple for me because we were giving all of these possible situations and we want to make sure that something that we've encountered before, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like we need to ask these questions because
I mean it's totally so someone in that situation you're mentioning, they crash a car into a ditch at a high rate of speed is far different than a guy who pulled over maybe a vehicle he didn't have permission to be in and left it parked safely on the side of the road.
So
he's running away to preserve his own life. The other situation could be someone who's going to need to be extricated and instantly flown to a hospital to receive medical care for these serious injuries.
Completely different situations.
Totally different situation.
Yeah, I always think about that call. Like, well, now I'm never going to think of ditching a car the same.
Right.
I will never do it either after this conversation.
You're welcome. Last question for why does 911 ask for race? This is an easy and hard question to answer. I mean, Erica, I'll let you take the reins. I'll take the reins. Here we go. It's so important to know who is. This is more for like a police call. As we said before, descriptions of what's going on and who is involved is so important. So officers know who to contact and who to not contact immediately. Who's the person causing the issue? Who's the person with the weapons? Who's the person that's drunk or on drugs? Who do they need to look for? And if there's group of people and everybody is different races, we need to know if everyone's wearing a red hoodie but they're all different races. That would help the officers look and see which one specifically. If it's the white guy in the red hoodie, okay, they're gonna look for the white guy in the red hoodie. If it's the Hispanic male, they're gonna look for the Hispanic male. It's not because we're trying to pick on any race. We're not doing that at all. It's just a descriptor to help officers so they can find the right person rather than encountering everybody and possibly making the situation worse.
Yeah, and I think you hit it head on. It's not in any way, shape, or form to profile or to add to a situation in a negative way. Instead, it's a quick recognition. I mean, and honestly, that's not the only distinguishing characteristic we're going to ask. It's like you said, gender, and even that. I mean, do they appear to be male, female, whatever you want to say, but then their race and clothing. I think for me too it's those quick identifiers, because if you've called 911 for law enforcement assistance, you want a quick and safe resolution of the situation.
Yeah.
And if law enforcement officers can get there quickly and instantly deduce who might have been the threat, who has the weapon, who they need to talk to, they can safely bring a resolution to that incident. I mean, it's no different where, this is somewhat of a tangent, but on the same line as, for me in line of questioning is, what is the person wearing? I'm baffled too of like the most specific characteristic, like black Nikes with a red swoosh, which again, what color shirt are they wearing?
Right.
And so again, it's those bigger distinguishing characteristics, not they had a watch on their right or left wrist.
Right.
To safely and quickly bring an end to something that may be a problem.
Right.
And I think too it's just again between the melting pot of different people coming here and how that factors into language with the last question. And it's the same way of you don't have to bring like your negative stereotypical things. Like, we're not trying to increase the emotional charge of the situation, like just a quick simple response, because I think too sometimes people feel between a rock and a hard place of like having to answer that question. We're not trying to like call you out either. It's just the reality of just quickly, how do they appear? Maybe it's not right, but you're not being held to that.
Yeah.
I think is huge.
Right. Like, yeah, it's the same thing with like paramedics. If you're in a public place, it's like, I need to know what you look like and where you're going to be so that the paramedics can find you, especially if you're not going to be able to like go to them. So just like things like that, it's just important to know who we're looking for in whatever situation.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that, the other piece, whether it's police or fire medical, is if they're coming into a situation running lights and sirens, they're getting there quickly, and their minds, there's 1,000 different things spinning through their minds. And so those bigger, more general categories, even a vehicle, giving us like it's a red car can be huge, because at least that starts to focus their attention to get to the right place. You think about something like the Budweiser Event Center or some of these larger facilities in Larimer County even, and then every city and town has them, but to just, where specifically on a property, I mean, with the wildfires, this is kind of a joke, but with the wildfires, people have been confused on which way is west. I kid you not. I saw the Facebook memes, I thought it was a joke, but when the smoke was bad, it can change things. So I mean, we're not trying to like frustrate you, but again, it's to get you the help you need.
Right.
That's good. So we're gonna take a quick break. Switch out these questions. Ooh. Perfect. And jeez. We're back. After that quick break.
Yes.
With
That's
our
when we edited out.
I did, I promise. Okay. So next question is on the board. Where does 911 work? Which I feel like we can branch into several different things. Where does 911 work depends on the center and depends on your jurisdiction of the location. So, I mean, for example, Loveland 911 is in Loveland, Colorado. Fort Collins 911 is in Fort Collins, Colorado. Where is Laramie? Nope, not the right county. Where is Larimer County 911?
In Larimer County.
Oh, perfect.
No, we're in Fort Collins too.
Oh yeah, see?
Yeah. Just down the street from Fort Collins 911.
I thought you guys were in the same building.
So I guess we're gonna do a field trip.
No.
To Larimer County.
No, we're in we work in the Larimer County Sheriff's Office.
Oh, that
and they
makes
work
sense.
in the Fort Collins
That
Police
makes sense.
Services.
I don't know why. For some reason, I thought you guys were in the same building.
Different buildings.
Oops.
Good thing we Googled that question.
Now I learned
And we're
something.
answering it.
I learned something today. Who knew I was going to be the one being educated? Surprise. So that's how I interpret the phone call. The question. This is how I interpret the question: is where does it work? We work depending on jurisdiction.
And I interpret it as from what countries can I call or use 911? United States. I'm not sure where other places are,
I
but
think Mexico and
I
Canada
would
both
say
use
Canada.
911.
Yeah.
I think everywhere, North America uses 911.
and then like Europe and whatnot, they have
999.
999 or 112
Yeah.
in some places. So
Wouldn't it be cool if when you got off the plane in like different countries, they were like, "This is if you have an emergency, this is what you should call."
I think they do. In some places they do, and I can't remember what countries. Like you get off and you're like, "Hey, you're in England now."
Some of us haven't traveled. That's cool.
I have no, neither have I. International travel, no. Plane rides way too long. But I can't remember where I heard that. Where you get off and it shows
like 60 different languages and like this is where you are. No,
maybe, or maybe just has like emergency number, whatever. But
someone who has traveled abroad, hit us up.
yes, and if you are, research that.
Right.
So you're not dialing 911 and being like, why is this not working?
You're in Scotland, it's like it's
That's
not
true.
working.
Well, you know what? And this is on that topic too, because even in the United States, in some places, and I know there's a movement, and I don't know what the outcome was remove the 9, because you actually had to dial 911. So like to get an outside line, you had to dial 9 first, and then 911, which was
Terry's law.
Yeah, for the multi-line systems.
But I don't know
I think they
where did it pass.
It passed. I don't know how successful they are.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it
Updating
passed, but
to-
okay.
yeah,
So it's got like
to
a time.
change. Yeah, and we still have to do that here. So
You did dial 9 in your building.
we don't. I mean, from that phone that you may
Yeah.
not be able to see right now, we still have to
Should I call 911 and see what happens?
always practice.
Always.
Oops, sarcasm.
Yeah, don't
Sorry.
do that. Matthew.
Say it's a test if you do.
Or say it was
Or
an
just hang
accident.
up.
No.
Just kidding. That's
No,
sarcasm
sorry.
too.
We say that because it happens so often.
Oh, it does.
So we've talked about it. We call you back.
Yep.
We got to check on you.
Right. Yeah, so where does 911 work? America.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the cool thing too is if you can't make a phone call, you can always try texting 911, especially in Larimer County. Most places in Colorado now. I think give it a try because sometimes the text can get out, but your cell phone call may not be able to get out. Even with the text, we should still be able to capture the GPS and stuff too. So it's
We don't get locations.
Did your text from 911 give you location? It just doesn't that right away.
not right away.
I don't think that we.
Wait, I have to use Rapid SOS to find location.
I'm pretty sure on our it doesn't get an Annie Alley. It comes through on one of the messages.
Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe that's why.
It comes through as like
I thought you meant like the
no,
alley.
no.
Gotcha.
Okay, I see.
When
what
it
you mean.
processes it like text.
It gives you like
through.
the bylaw.
Yeah.
I see.
Gotcha.
I see. Okay. Well, now that we made that clear,
We're learning so much.
yeah,
It's true.
this is such an educational episode. Next question.
Okay.
I was like, what was I gonna say?
That's
Nothing
it.
important. I'm almost too short for this.
You can do it. Yay.
You almost revealed too many.
I know.
Don't jump ahead.
Where does 911 come from? Well, you see, I'm not gonna make that joke.
I was gonna.
I'll edit this out. I'll be so
No,
good
it's
at
good.
editing.
It's good. It's great. Make sure my hands aren't dirty.
911 is an emergency service that was created to help the public because back in the day, there wasn't 911 and people had to call the police if they needed police.
Yeah. 0.
Yeah, and call the fire department. They needed the fire department. So somehow someone was like, "This is a great idea. Let's create one emergency service." So
Emergency number.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Because, and they said it's easy to remember, and the number wasn't used for like an area code or other like office codes yet. So they thought 9 and then 11 because it was simple, easy to remember.
You know what's easier? 111, 411.
But they
211.
didn't
I'm
want.
just kidding. I'm kidding.
to be too easy, like easy to remember, but not accidentally called. So that's why
Because
it
on
was
the
like,
old rotary
uh-huh,
phone to
you
get
could go-
from 9.
yep, and then you go all the way over and then for 1-1.
Oh.
So if you did 1-1-1, then people are like, oops, I accidentally dialed 1-1-1.
And now we've undone that with like, just hold this button for too long on your phone and you're gonna call 911.
Or your Apple Watch.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Fall out of a chair. Don't worry, we'll call 911.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, we got you.
Mowing your lawn.
Yeah.
That answers that question.
Or are we talking about where does 911 come from as far as the call generator? Like, I'm out in the field. I'm not a first responder. I'm outside. I'm here. I'm somewhere. And I call 911. How does it get from my phone to the center?
Magic.
It feels like
It
magic.
really
For
is
us, it is
magic.
magic. And it happens in a split second. Like,
It's true.
so
And even
fast.
by the time like they hear it ringing, we may have already heard it ring a couple times.
Right.
Or
So-
opposite.
Yeah, true.
Depends on the
The
service.
system.
Yeah, the system.
I think it could be its whole episode or its
Mhm.
own episode talking about how
We take
911 routes from your phone
Yeah,
to
from the archaic landline. No,
the
I'm just kidding.
the technology from going through the airwaves and all that to get to us.
It's true.
Angels
Definitely.
and waves.
Mm.
It's a band.
It's a band.
Me too.
At least somebody understood where I was going.
Good. Thanks, man. Good.
Cool.
Okay, next.
We'll cover that in a future episode.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, perfect.
We'll uncover it further.
Yes.
As you're uncovering
That's
questions.
right.
This isn't straight. It's fine. This is. We're not just being lazy. For those of you who understand grammar, this is literally what has been Googled. We're taking it word for word.
Mhm.
So,
No editing.
where does 911 call go? Goes to a lot of places. But like Erica was saying before, maybe you should re-say it. I'm gonna mess it up.
It starts from your phone and it goes to different points throughout the jurisdiction that you're in.
Right. And based
So,
off of where
it's-
you're heading off of is what center you will go to.
Yes, it gets routed to the correct emergency call center.
Right. And there's times like if those towers are overloaded because something major is going on, you might be routed to a different county or different agency, which, I mean, that happens a lot. If we're getting a lot of 911s and we don't have enough dispatchers to answer them all in an adequate amount of time, they get rerouted to Matthew over here and he'll answer the phone
That's
and
true.
help you. So that's where it goes.
Yeah, I think you guys have covered it before, but in Larimer County, the call starts regardless of what type of emergency with the fire medical agency, ideally. But again, like Sammy was saying, if you're maybe more on the eastern part of the county and you call 911 on a cell phone, it may bounce to Weld, to Boulder, to Longmont. Again, based on the strength of the signal the cell towers are putting out, or how much incoming traffic they have. And if you're on the northern part of Larimer County, very often it will ring into Wyoming, and then they're transferring it back, which then gets a little goofy because it doesn't come back into us as a 911 any longer since
Right.
it's gone across the state line. But yeah, all those different things. And I mean, we've had people, I'm sure you guys have gotten some of our calls, but we've had people before who are way up in the northwest part of the county, and the closest tower they can hit may be in Weld County. And so then it's, I mean, we're talking miles and miles, 2-hour plus drive from where the person is to where the 911 center is answering from. But ideally, it should go to, the closest agency based on the cell phone towers. But it's not a perfect process. There was one tower that I think they finally got worked out, but a certain phone carrier, every time someone would call 911 from that phone carrier and it would hit this tower, it would route to the wrong 911 center until they have to go in. And I mean, it's computer, it's technology, so they have to go in and reconfigure it so it was routed correctly.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's so crazy. Okay. Hopefully that answers the question that we might
They
not
should,
understand.
someone should email us if
Right.
it's
Yeah,
getting
more questions.
Yeah, more clarification.
Blow up their email.
Yeah.
Please. I don't read my
She's not desperate, but
I'm not desperate, just a little bit.
Send me emails.
Next one, where does 911 funding come from?
Erica's paycheck.
Yes. She pays for all of our 911.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
Sarcasm.
Sarcasm. Jokes.
I think
Joke.
the
Sorry.
most basic understanding of this is that there's a surcharge. No, there's a surcharge on your phone bill for 911, and it's really, really, really cheap.
Yeah, landline, cell phones. It's very. You probably don't even really fully realize it's there, but it's what funds it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we had talked about in another episode about funding 911 and why we can't find you at like your exact spot, and it's all about money.
Mhm.
I mean, it really boils down to that. So if we had Uber type money, we'd find you. But when we have what is it for Larimer County?
The actual
Like our
charge.
surcharge? Is it
Oh,
40 cents?
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's. Yeah, less. I think we're still less than 50 cents.
So for all of Colorado,
We'll
between
Google it.
we're Googling right now. Thanks, Google. Between $1.75 maybe
Mhm.
is the highest and 30 some cents is the lowest. Depends on where you are. So if Larimer County is sitting at 40 cents, however many people are in Larimer County paying that surcharge, that's where we get our money.
According to LIDA911.org, which is our Larimer Emergency Telephone Authority, as of January 1st of 2019, the surcharge is 70 cents
Oh,
Mm.
good.
per month per phone line. So if you have 3 phone lines, it's going to be whatever 3 times 0.70 is. So something really small in your phone bill that I'm sure you're looking more at the line charge and your
Mhm.
database charge and service fees, and 911's at the very bottom. You're like, that number's too little, I don't care.
So $2.10 for a family of 3 to provide you with a 911 service.
It's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
You pay more for your coffee every day, fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
So
Unless you don't drink coffee and then
you pay more for
you
your
pay for your
donuts.
911
Or you
surcharge.
Larimer County Sheriff's Office coffee. You probably pay less
But if you
per month.
don't
Apparently I'm with some thrifty people that don't go out and drink coffee.
No, I
drink
do.
water.
I buy my coffee from Kansas City. I'm pretty
Oh,
popular.
wow. Oh,
Wow.
Kansas City
It's got a
coffee.
good
Do
roastery. I like it.
you want to plug them in?
Yeah. Shout out little
No,
Oh,
no, okay.
we could. It's called a roastery.
in
Oh.
Kansas City.
Hit them up.
Now you know. Best
I
coffee.
should have brought that coffee cup today.
You should
That
have.
would have been real.
That would have been good.
All right.
Is that good? Fun?
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
Last one.
This is my favorite one.
This is seriously things that people Google.
I mean, you gotta know,
Right.
where does 911 Lone Star film?
Right.
My answer?
Not Texas.
Uh-huh.
I
That was
guarantee
a good
it's not
answer.
Texas.
It's from the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not Texas.
I would say not.
I don't think it's Colorado either.
I imagine my money's on New Mexico because there's a lot of filming that happens in New Mexico.
And a lot of land.
Yeah, and
And I
there's a
think
lot of
lower
land.
taxes overall.
Yeah, and the setting is very similar to what I imagine Lone Star, Texas being. Is that a city? Here we are. I don't go to Texas often. I'm so sorry for those of you who live there. I apologize. I live in Colorado. Here we go. I barely know the cities are here, so.
Do you guys watch that show? No. Do you?
I started to watch the original, the 911 one. It was super frustrating. though.
911?
It just
Yeah. The
4
plane,
ones.
the
Planes.
original 911 show.
With the girl from American Horror Story.
Yeah, but it's not very realistic.
Yeah, I can't watch shows about my job
We're so critical.
because that.
Yeah.
But and so it's sensationalized. I live that.
Mm.
I do what's kind of. Not that much. But I don't want to see I don't want to watch for enjoyment what I do during the day for my job.
But I think in some ways, contrary to that, it could be helpful because that is the type of viewpoint, aside from podcasts like this, that the world probably has.
That's true.
I mean, that's what drives the understanding of 911
Yeah.
and the how the culture is and what it is. And so I think it's helpful to at least be maybe cognizant of it. You don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
But just be aware, because it's so contrary to reality.
Yeah.
Sadly. And it's, I think even about some of the old NCIS or whatever it was, or where it's like that's CSI. Oh yeah, CSI was even worse. Yeah. The speed of like their investigative. I did too, but the speed of like now, our investigators are like, and you're like, oh my gosh, I used to believe that.
Right. I needed it done in in an hour.
It takes
Like,
months to get fingerprints, not 30
if you
seconds.
can get them.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like they're like perfect.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just be aware of it.
It's true. I think I was talking to a coworker the other day. We were talking to like someday when we retire. I hope no one calls me, because I'm gonna probably be done
Yes.
talking on the phone by then.
Right.
Like you can text me.
Yeah.
I'd be totally down with a handwritten note.
Yes, I love
Write
letters.
me letters.
Please.
Yeah.
Write us letters. You don't have to email us if you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You save the postal service.
Yeah.
Use a stamp.
Save the Postal Service. Our address is the Loveland Police Department at 810 East 10th Street, Loveland, Colorado 80537.
Great job.
You're welcome.
You do know Colorado.
I know an address.
And
Okay. Well, we're done with these questions, so we'll be right back at you with another set of questions. Okay. We ready?
Everyone's hair looking cute. Okay. Good.
And we're ready. So
Yeah.
we're back with our final set of questions. There's not as many. I feel like because a lot of the questions that were up there were a little bit repetitive. Like this first question was probably asked about 4 different times, or different ways, I mean. So we're just gonna answer it with this one. How does 911 get your location? If you listen to the episode that we just released, I don't know if it's gonna be just released when this is released, but it's PSA 7, locations from cell phones. We get your location through your GPS, in which our phone system is asking your phone carrier for a location, and for us it looks more like 100 block, but it takes about 20 seconds for us to get that information on average. It could be sooner, it could be later, but that's how we generally get a location from that.
Yes, unless you're a landline.
Unless you're a landline, then everything just auto-populates and everything's happy.
but then VoIP,
Right.
when you can like make up addresses, which is not helpful.
Please
Right.
don't do that.
Please don't.
No.
Especially if it's for your like elderly mother who may need to call 911 for a medical issue. Don't
Right.
come up with some fake address.
Or like don't use like the police department's address, because
Yeah, not helpful.
yeah, it's not helpful.
But then there's Rapid SOS.
Which is super helpful.
Very helpful.
We were talking about VoIP phones, which is voice over internet protocols. I always want to say just phone, not protocols. It seems easier, but I've had people call 911 and they're like in Texas, and because their phone is registered to an address in Loveland, Colorado, they ring into me. It's
And they
weird.
don't know that.
And they don't know
because
that.
They think it goes wherever they are.
Right,
So that's why we asked the question twice.
right.
And be like,
Right.
Colorado?
Yeah, we've had people call us from Monkey Junction.
Where's that?
That
Remember?
exists.
Yeah.
Google it. Like you Google this.
Yeah, it's true.
Monkey Junction.
Monkey Junction. Yeah,
That's
it's
in
like
Larimer County?
No. That's why I think they were in like Wellington, North Carolina or something.
Oh, wow.
They got the wrong Wellington.
Oh.
That's like when Loveland, Ohio calls us.
Yeah. It's always a pleasure. There's apparently also like somewhere in Texas that's like Loveland, but it's
like Loveland
yeah.
or something. It looks like Loveland.
It looks like Loveland, but it's pronounced differently and can be confusing with
How else can you pronounce it? Loveland?
I think it's spelled different a little bit. I wonder if I can
So when they
Google
say it, when they talk to Siri
or if they
can
call
be
411.
There's, alarm companies when they call in, sometimes they're like, we're in Loveland. Like, those are the words.
Yeah, so
it's not pronounced that way. Or birth it is birth out.
Oh, birth it is. That one gets butchered all the time.
all the time. So it's level land, like a
Leveland.
level they use to like build things, and then land. So if someone says it quickly, and especially in Texas, I'm sure there's probably an accent to it. I'm apparently stereotyping Texans. Sorry. I'm gonna edit that out. Jeez, I'm sorry.
I'm sure you sound funny when you say
I'm sure
it.
you're talking normal. It's just to me, it's an accent. I'm trying to validate something I'm editing out. So yeah, Loveland. So if you're calling 411 and you're like, I need Loveland, Texas. There comes the accent again.
It's true. I heard it. It's very confusing
Yeah, it's so confusing.
for
All right.
everyone.
I'm
Yeah,
done.
good.
Did we answer that question?
Yep.
Next.
Mhm.
I say
I
yeah.
think we're just getting distracted now. How does 911 answer the phone? Let me talk into the mic. How does 911 answer the phone?
Are we talking like physically pick up the phone? Because if we are, hit a little button, and that's how
I'm pretty sure that we have like a handset and we just rest on our shoulders.
We do.
We did. Oh.
Which is
I was like, if we do my
which is why I
shoulder
want
would
to just
hurt.
cut you guys off before it gets awkward.
Well, we push a button.
Wait, do
We
you?
push the button. Yeah, but I still use a handset.
Huh? We use a headset, so we're always like.
The problem is, I think he said this. Our unselected, our selected channel speaker is on the left, and that's where I wear my headset. So I would miss. I can't move it, so they're both.
No, that's why my headset's on my left ear, because unselected used to be on my right, and now it comes from the center, so it doesn't matter where we have it. But that's what I do when I answer the phone.
Yeah, and I try to wear my headset on my right ear, and
I cannot, but that's why I talk on the phone. Like on my cell phone, I can't talk on the cell phone on my left ear, but I can't have my headset on my right.
That's really weird.
It's weird. It's funny. Okay.
but yeah, we still use corded handsets.
That is weird. I do need a tour.
We don't have to. You can come visit.
I want to come visit.
We're just up the road. The I-25.
The X-Way is one of my partners used to say. She doesn't say that anymore.
The X-Way.
The expressway.
She's from
Oh.
California.
I was like, I know who you're talking about.
We had a discussion about that when she was in training about
We people say, oh no, California's freeway. We have something that says freeway.
freeway. I could say freeway, but the X-Way, I was like, what are you saying? I don't even know what that is.
Sometimes other agencies in the state just refer to it as the I.
Aren't there other eyes?
There are, which is why it was super confusing. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, you're bigger centered down south. Which eye are we talking about?
Yeah.
The left or the right?
The east-west one,
I know.
north-south. What are we talking about here? Interesting. Okay. Any other way you guys? How else do you interpret this?
Yeah,
That's
no,
about
I mean,
right.
there are some agencies that can do it. All of our agencies work from our center. But there's ways that people can do it now from like the living room, other countries.
Oh my gosh. Do you know? Imagine how awful that's gonna
It's
be
true.
if like you're in an emergency situation and all of a sudden my dog starts throwing up in the background. Like,
Yes.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I would
No,
be concerned
it's-
about someone not being familiar with, if I say,
Yeah.
I'm on the I and I'm passing,
Tacoma.
the Budweiser Event Center, and they're like, Either way.
Okay.
Or if they just say Budweiser, do they mean
Yeah.
the event center
Right.
or
The
the manufacturing plant down here or
Right.
the manufacturing plant
Yeah.
in Fort Collins?
So many.
True. Yeah, no, they're like in a different state. I think they're in Australia, the guy I was talking to. So he like dispatches for a totally different state in Australia. It's all cloud based. Mhm.
Interesting. Field
Yeah.
trip. Let's go there.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have kangaroos.
You wanna come with us?
Okay.
Okay, good. All right. Live from Australia.
Oh, that'd be the best episode ever.
Oh goodness. I keep talking to the board. How does 911 work on a cell phone? I feel like this is another thing that we've talked about a lot. You can call 911, which is the most convenient and most preferred way for you to talk to us because it's quick. We can ask what we need, we can get the information as quickly as possible. You can also text 911 on a cell phone. In most agencies, like we said literally 5 minutes ago, Larimer County supports that. So if you're in Larimer County, you can text 911 if you're in a situation that you cannot call 911. There's an agency somewhere that's not Colorado, so don't take this from Coloradians. But I should probably look it up and see what it is.
If it's Coloradian or not?
It's not a Coloradian, I know for sure. What is it, a Coloradan? Why are you, what is going
Yes.
on? Coloradan?
Coloradans.
I like Coloradian. There's an agency somewhere in America that you can report 911 online. I'll look it up and maybe insert it, who knows? You can't do it in Colorado.
Don't do it in Colorado.
At least not Larimer County, because we don't have the capability for that. It's like the order of call, then text, then if you absolutely cannot do either of those, then do the online reporting. But I don't know how that works, so I can even speak for that. That's why I was trying to find the agency. But if you are that agency, please hit me up, because I follow you on the podcast account. Apparently, I can't remember what your name is. Sorry. Yeah. Is that it?
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know how I would like online reporting.
Yeah, there's some third-party vendor things now too that can like call 911 for you without. It basically it's kind of like OnStar but for your cell phone. So you like pay a fee, monthly fee, I assume monthly fee, and they basically would call with your location and briefly what's going on.
Like an alarm company? With like
More or
a
less, it's like a
GPS
personal
pendant?
alarm for like it's like a panic alarm for your phone.
Oh, is it like an app you can download?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Life something.
That's pretty cool.
I just took the first call the other day about it, and I was like, "What?"
Really?
Because it's like they basically give it to us like it's a panic alarm, something in like a business, a home, whatever, and it's like person driving, moving GPS coordinates, and I was like, "Wait!" And so they explained it to me.
It was a personality type, not just a recording?
It was a monitoring system.
Oh, okay. And then since it's GPS, it was accurate location. How much do you think it is a month?
I have no clue. I didn't dig too much further, but I was like, "That's genius! I've never heard of that."
Interesting.
But then you take it with you because then you have that panic alarm thing without paying, just at your house or just at your business.
That's really cool. Nice. So then the last question.
Is the most important one of all.
Yeah,
It's really the
it's
most
my favorite
important one. Ta-da! We're just self-promoting. This is not the most Googled question.
I mean, try and make it.
Yeah,
Let's
I mean,
Google all over.
tell everybody about us. I mean, now we're on YouTube, so we're reaching more people, and I know that everything that we're saying is based off of our agencies, but it's helpful general knowledge for the most part. So we want to be up on the most Google search. That'd be pretty cool. That means we're educating people and making people more safe.
Yeah.
Maybe not more safe, but
possibly.
yeah, who knows? Who knows? Okay, yeah.
But how do they connect? How would they connect with you guys?
That's a good question. I think there's like a Facebook page. Okay, to get serious now. We do have a Facebook page, Loveland Emergency Communications Center. We have our Instagram, How to 911 Podcast. We have our YouTube, which is How to 911 Podcast. We have our email that you can ask us questions that are not frequently asked on Google because we just answered those. So ask us different questions, which is howto911@cityofloveland.org. If you have any questions for Matthew, because he's our return guest, hey Matthew,
Thank you.
let us know and we'll get the info or questions to him.
They'll write me a letter
Yes, we'll write him a letter
with a stamp.
and we'll support the post office. Yeah, subscribe, because now we're getting on more podcast platforms, which is really exciting. So you can subscribe and get notified when we have new episodes, because I don't know when they're ever going to come out. So
Probably the 1st and the 15th of every month.
usually, typically, unless technical issues happen, and then
The 2nd.
But yes, until then, know where you are, know your phone number, and tell us exactly what happened.